So why have a Terminator Cobra at one point and then sell it and buy another one? That is a question I asked myself a while ago, and I touched on it a little bit in the first drive video when I said that I just absolutely love this platform. But there's more to it than that, because when I decided that I wanted to get another car, why did I go back to the Terminator over anything else that I could have bought? Because as you know, I burned through 3 cars last year in 2023, including the Terminator, the Shelby GT350 and a Fox body, and I sold all of them. And I'll explain more in depth of why that happened and what led me to ultimately get this Sonic Blue Terminator. So I mentioned this before, so I'm not going to go into a lot of depth with it for why I sold my other Terminator. Long story short, I just wasn't happy with the car anymore. I wasn't unhappy with the platform. The car was just becoming a burden to me, and I just wanted to get out from under it. And maybe I kind of rushed getting rid of it without thinking about it too much, but in the long run, the car had a lot of issues that I didn't want to have to resolve. The valve seals were bad. It needed paint work, and because of that stuff, and other reasons, I didn't get rid of it because of those 2 problems. There was a lot of other stuff involved around that car for why I just wanted to get out from under it, so I sold it. So after that, I bought the GT350, and I've been in a lot of back and forth discussions on forums and Facebook posts regarding the Terminator Cobra versus the GT350. 2 totally different cars built for 2 different purposes, but there's kind of a interesting dichotomy between the 2 of them. But in the end, I'm not going to try to go into like real depth psychological explanation for all this stuff, but long story short with that was it was too new, it was too modern for what I liked. I'm not saying too new and too modern is bad. It's good if that's what you want, and I enjoy that. I have a brand new Bronco that was brand new. It's 2 years old now. I can still consider it a new vehicle, so I do enjoy new stuff, but for my Mustang, I wanted something a little bit older. And with that Shelby, from my perspective, it didn't have any soul. It didn't have any connection to the car like you do with one of these older Cobras. You have the cable clutch, the cable throttle. You really feel connected to the car, and I did not get that with the Shelby. It was just, the car just, I don't want to say drove itself, but it just lacked personality, it lacked soul. And even though that's completely subjective, one thing that is not subjective is the fact that it lacked a lot of torque, and I wasn't really happy with the power output of that car. Even with long tubes on it, and tuned on 93, it put out, I think, 440 something, which is nice, but it's not a bad number. But when you take that number and combine it with not having a lot of torque, it just wasn't an enjoyable car to drive. I don't want to have to hunt through the RPM range to find where the power is. Where a Terminator, you slam the throttle and the power is there like that without any hesitation, and that's what I really like with these cars. So then I had the Fox body. That was going to be a big, huge project of building a really nice Ford Strokers motor in it. It was just going to be a really cool build. And ultimately what happened, even though this was an absolutely horrible experience, in the end it turned out to be a really good thing. And that's when I injured my back over the summer. Because my back injury is what led to me selling the Fox body, because it made me realize how huge of a project that car was going to be. And at the time, I hadn't healed from my back yet, and I didn't know what my recovery time was going to be like and what my overall functionality was going to be once I returned to that point of being able to go back to work and function on a daily basis. Was I still going to have limitations and problems and pain and all that stuff? I didn't know that at the time. So I just decided to get rid of the Fox body, and at that point, I was done with cars. I was moving on to other things. The channel pretty much was going to die. I wasn't going to do anything with it. I appreciate everyone that had been here the whole time, but I just needed to get away from cars. So I stepped away from anything car related from like when I hurt my back, even though I didn't sell the Fox body until a few months later. Once my back was hurt, I was done with the car, and that happened last July. So I went from July until December, and when December rolled around, I started thinking about springtime and summer and nice weather and how it really wasn't that far off. And what was I going to do with myself? I bought a real nice mountain bike. I was going to start getting into that, doing things like that. That didn't pan out either because I knew I wouldn't have been happy with it. That's something that I would do very rarely compared to car shows and cruises and just driving, you know, a Cobra or any other car around basically on any nice day during the summertime. So later on, December rolled around and I really decided that I wanted to get another car. I really like going to car shows, and I didn't see myself going to any car shows for 2024 without a car to bring, and I would have felt really bad going without a car, looking at what everyone else has while I have nothing. And that really got me down the path of, okay, I should, you know, really start thinking about getting something. And I thought a lot about, you know, the cars I'd had previously and what was it that I really wanted. I've owned everything from a classic 60s Mustang to Fox bodies, new edges, pushrod 5.0s, pushrod 5.8s. It was a pretty good mix. The only thing I really haven't owned is a 2-valve new edge or a 3-valve. I had the S550 in the GT350 form, so it was just a lot of stuff. And I sat down and I thought, what really made me happy? I said, even though that particular Cobra Terminator that I had before, even though I wasn't happy with it and I got rid of it, I just really loved the platform. And that's what really got the ball rolling on why I wanted to get another one of these cars. These cars have already reached an iconic status with, as bad as people want them, what they're paying for them, and the fact that there's less of them around every year, between ones being parted out, ones being wrecked that will never be saved, even though a parted out one can still have a life as long as the shell is still good and the car is not crushed or scrapped. But there's less and less of these every year, and as time goes on, these cars are going to get harder to find, more valuable, and cost more. And I just got thinking that, you know, I just really, really want to get into another Cobra again. And that's what got me searching for it, as far as trying to find another one. So that's pretty much how all that happened and what brought me back to wanting another Terminator. And of course, it comes down to, as well as, how did I go about buying this one? What's the story involving this car? And also why I was that close to not buying it, and actually obviously did end up buying it. But that's for another video where I'm going to get into more of, you know, what drew me to this car, why I almost passed on it, and, you know, generally just why I'm happy with this car now. But that's for another video that I'll do later on. I just kind of wanted to give a good explanation on, you know, why I left this platform, and then, you know, within a year later I'm back in it again. And when I got my first Terminator, I said, I love this car, I'm never selling it. Then I sold it. I know it sounds redundant to say I'm never selling this car, but I'm really not. I really, really like this car. It has its issues, and I've done some pulls on the car, and you guys haven't heard me blower whine yet, and I'm pretty sure my bypass valve is gone. So that's something I've been diagnosing, and it doesn't look like it's holding up too well. So I think that's my issue with the getting any boost in the car and getting any blower whine. I think that's pretty much my problem. So I'm going to get that fixed, and hopefully that does solve the issue. But like I said, this car is not perfect. I didn't buy a really, really low mileage, perfect Cobra. I never will. I want this car for something to drive. Something that still looks good, still drives good, is in good condition, but it's not a garage queen. I want to drive this around and enjoy it. And that's, you know, what I sought after when looking for one, and it's what I bought. So let me know down in the comments, have you ever thought about selling your Terminator, or is there a car that you've had that you never would sell? I like, you know, hearing about all that stuff from other people too, just not my perspective, because I like a little insight on, you know, what is happening and what goes on in the eyes of the viewers or the people who watch the channel. So if you are new here, make sure to sub, because there's a lot more Cobra stuff coming up later on this summer. Gotta get that bypass valve fixed, so actually get some blower line out of this thing. Also, if you made it this far in the video, make sure to leave it a like, but above all else, thanks for watching.